The hum of the coffee machine was a familiar, comforting sound. I always started my mornings like this, standing in the kitchen, the scent of fresh brew chasing away the last wisps of sleep. I set my favorite mug, the one Emily made me for Father's Day, on the counter. And that's when it happened. A faint, almost transparent green bar shimmered into existence right above the machine. It read, Coffee Machine HP 100/100. I paused. Blinking, I rubbed my eyes hard. Late-night grading history papers, I figured. Yeah, that had to be it. My eyes were playing tricks on me. Must be tired, I mumbled, leaning in a little, trying to focus. It stayed there, unwavering. I squinted, then shook my head. Gone. For a second, it felt like it was gone. Then it flickered back, just as clear. And God, a small, almost imperceptible icon of a heart next to it. What the hell was that? I grabbed my phone, trying to distract myself. Scrolling through the news, normal stuff, local politics, some high school football scores. But then the screen shimmered, like a glitch in an old video game. A pop-up box, bright and intrusive, filled my vision. New quest, conquer indecision, complete breakfast. Reward, +5 dexterity points. My breath hitched. I practically threw the phone onto the counter, the clatter echoing in the sudden quiet of the morning. It felt wrong, so wrong. Outside, the birds had been chirping, a regular symphony of chirps and tweets. But then a sharp, metallic bang cut through it all, like an achievement unlocked sound from somewhere, right next to my ear. It resonated, vibrating deep inside my skull. I pressed my hands to my temples. What kind of trick was this? A prank? Some new AR app gone haywire? I clutched my phone, my fingers white where they gripped the plastic. It felt like something was twisting around my senses, changing them from inside out. It's just some kind of weird bug, I told myself, my voice a whisper. Network error, maybe. A shiver ran down my spine, cool and unwelcome. I tried to talk to Sarah about it when she came into the kitchen, rubbing sleep from her eyes. Honey, did you hear that bing sound? And there's this weird display thing. She just looked at me, a soft, sympathetic gaze that felt like a punch to the gut. Hear what, David? Are you okay? You look pale. She touched my forehead, checking for a fever. She didn't see it. She didn't hear it. The invisible screen in front of my eyes, still showing Coffee Machine HP 100/100. It was just for me. This was it then. Just me. I tried to swallow, but my throat was suddenly dry, like sandpaper. The morning continued, or rather, it tried to. I went to the window, pulled back the curtains. The familiar, quiet street of our suburb. Mrs. Henderson was watering her hydrangeas across the way. Next door, the Petersons' golden retriever, Rusty, was sniffing at a patch of grass. And then I saw it. Impossible to ignore now that my eyes were adjusted, or perhaps recalibrated. Floating above Rusty's head, a clear green bar. Rusty HP 80/100. Above Mrs. Henderson, a longer, slightly translucent bar. Edith Henderson, HP 75/100. Every house, every tree, it all had a bar. Green, red, yellow. A silent, digital layer imposed over everything, shimmering in the morning sun. A shrill, piercing alarm blared. Not from my phone, not from anywhere I could pinpoint. It was just there, everywhere. Event, looting outbreak. My heart slammed against my ribs. I saw them then, a group of people, maybe 5 or 6, rushing into the Petersons' house. Shouts. The dog, Rusty, started barking furiously, a terrified, desperate sound. I saw Mark from the high school history department, my colleague for years. He was with them. No, it couldn't be Mark. He looked different. His eyes were wide, feverish. He was holding a metal pipe. He swung it down. A gut-wrenching scream tore through the air. Above Mr. Peterson, who was trying to block the door, his HP bar, a vibrant red, drained to 0 in an instant. His body, it didn't fall. It shimmered, dissolving into a shower of bright, pixelated motes of light. And where he had stood, a small, glowing object appeared, floating a foot above the ground. A cold dread, unlike anything I'd ever felt, surged through me. A chilling wave that started at my feet and climbing, clutching at my chest. This wasn't a dream. This wasn't a bug.
And it was happening right outside my window. I didn't even remember moving. I was just suddenly running, shouting for Sarah, for Emily. We need to go now! We huddled in what used to be Miller's Hardware, now just a shell of shelves and overturned boxes. Outside, the world was a cacophony of alarms, distant screams, and that incessant jarring ping of unknown achievements. What was left of the grocery store down the street had been picked clean. There was nothing, just dust and overturned cans. Emily clung to Sarah, her little face buried in her mother's side. Sarah's arms were wrapped around her, her own face pale and streaked with tears. The food was gone, mostly. A few cans of cold soup and some stale crackers. That was it. We were starving. We hadn't eaten properly in I don't even know how long. The days blurred, the endless, grinding fear wearing away at everything. Then a new notification. This one larger, more imposing, dominating my view as if burned directly onto my retinas. World Quest. Sacrifice the weakest to empower allies. Reward. Ultimate survival skill. I stared at it. My gaze darted to Hannah. Sweet, quiet Hannah, the neighbor's daughter, maybe 8 years old, who had been hiding with us since her parents, since they became those glittering motes of light. She was trembling behind me now, her knees tucked to her chest, her thin frame almost invisible in the shadow of the overturned shelving. Her HP bar, a flickering green-yellow, stood stark above her tiny head. Hannah, HP, 30/100. My stomach lurched. I closed my eyes, trying to force the words, the image, the very idea of it away. But the quest box stayed, solid, insistent, a glowing rectangle behind my eyelids. I knew what it meant. I understood. If I did it, we would live. Sarah and Emily would live. But at what cost? A price I couldn't even begin to comprehend. My blood ran cold, fear a raw thing in my throat. I sat there, gripping a cold can of soup. My hand shook as I brought it to my mouth. My eyes drifted to the small family photo stuck to what was left of a refrigeration unit. It was from last summer. Sarah and Emily, laughing, their arms around each other. Pure joy. It was the only shred of normalcy left, the only thing that felt real. But as I looked, truly looked, something else surfaced, almost invisible. Above Emily's head, in the picture, a faint,
flickering yellow bar. Emily's Joy, 85/100. A chilling grip clenched my chest. Even this, the photograph, a physical memory, was tainted. It wasn't just the outside world, the streets, the homes. It was everything. Even the most sacred, private parts of my life, the things that made us us, they were being rewritten, parsed, displayed as undeniable data. The car felt like a coffin on wheels. My old sedan, battered, dented, tires spitting gravel as I sped down the cracked asphalt roads. Sarah sat beside me, Emily in the back, curled into a tight ball. We needed to find somewhere safe, somewhere quiet, but there was nowhere. Just the endless, horrifying display of HP bars, quest logs, and the distant, unsettling sound of what I could only describe as game audio. We turned onto what used to be a quiet back street. Then, flashing lights. No, not police, just the metallic glint of weapons. A group stood blocking the road, 5 of them. Their HP bars glowed crimson, threatening. HP 120/100. HP 100/100. HP 150/100. HP 90/90. HP 110/100. They were moving, approaching the car. "Well, well, David," a rough voice called out. It was a man, large, burly, his face obscured by shadow. His HP bar, a dominant HP 150. "Are you gonna be a sacrifice for your weak ones?" My vision was suddenly overwhelmed. A new world quest blazing across my eyes, impossible to ignore. Quest: eliminate obstacles. Reward: panic control skill. The burly man with the 150 HP bar smirked, a cruel, ugly grin. He was getting closer, his footsteps heavy on the broken pavement. I glanced at Sarah. Her eyes, wide with raw terror, met mine. The choice. It was no longer a question of right or wrong. It was survival. My family. Emily in the back, silent, too scared to even whimper. I couldn't run anymore. I couldn't pretend. My hand reached out, fumbling behind the seat. My fingers closed around the cold, rusted steel of a crowbar. It felt heavy, solid, real. I gripped it tight, my knuckles white. I looked at the approaching man, watching his HP bar.
Rage, pure and primal, surged through me, mixing with the debilitating fear. My blood pounded in my ears, a frantic drumbeat against my eardrums. I had to do it. Later, much later, I sat in the almost total darkness of a deserted house. Emily was asleep in my arms, her small, fragile weight the only thing tethering me to something human. Outside, through the grimy window, the night sky was scarred with red, glowing HP bars, crisscrossing the blackness like open wounds. From far off, I could hear screams, yes, but then a series of disjointed, unnatural thuds, like bones breaking, interspersed with a low, rhythmic clack-clack. I listened. I tried to place it. What was that sound? And then I realized. The clack-clack wasn't coming from outside. It was inside. Inside my head, from my own jaw. I was grinding my teeth, my jaw clenched so tight it ached. I tried to relax, to loosen it, but the sound, that awful clack, clack, clack,
It didn't stop. It just kept echoing from deep within my own skull, a physical reaction I couldn't control. I had become part of the awful symphony of this world. The grinding in my jaw had become a steady thrum, a low hum beneath everything else. It was the background score of my new life, a constant reminder of the animal I was becoming. I walked now, alone. The car, my old sedan, it had run out of fuel weeks ago, or maybe months. Time. Time was just another number in this endless stream of data I was forced to observe. I was moving through what used to be a quiet suburban street, the kind with neat lawns and mailbox flags. Now the lawns were overgrown with strange glowing weeds, and the mailboxes had degraded mailbox HP 2 out of 100 floating above them. Every step was calculated, every shadow a potential threat, every rustle of the wind a hint of a new quest. I was good at it now, this calculating. It was all that was left. I passed a house, its porch swing still hanging. I knew this house. It was old Mrs. Peterson's place. I remembered her, a kind woman who used to give Emily cookies. She would sit out here, gently rocking, a smile on her face. I stopped. She was there, sitting on the swing. Her hair, the same silver bun, a faded floral dress. She looked up, and she smiled at me. A slow, gentle smile. I felt a jolt, a flicker of something almost warm, something I hadn't felt in a long, long time. But then I looked closer. The swing. It was moving, back and forth, a steady, easy rhythm. But it made no sound. Not a creak, not a groan of metal. Nothing. It just slid through the air. And Mrs. Peterson, she didn't seem to be touching it, not really. Her weight, it wasn't pressing into the wood. She was just there, a part of the motion. My brow furrowed. I tried to make sense of it. She must have oiled it, I mumbled to myself. That's it, right, probably oiled it well is all. I never paid attention before. But the thought felt thin, transparent, like the faint HP bars that still flickered above everything. I just kept walking, trying to forget the silent swing, the smile that didn't quite reach her eyes, the fact that her HP bar was a solid, chilling green. Mrs. Peterson, NPC, 9,900 out of 9,900. I found shelter for a night in a ransacked video store, the smell of dust and decaying plastic overwhelming. Every shelf was empty, the screens smashed. I huddled in a corner, my back to an overturned display. I needed something, some anchor. My fingers, calloused and scraped, fumbled in my pack. I found it, my old phone. The battery was dead, had been for ages. But the SD card, that was still in there. I had a portable solar charger, found it long ago. Hours later, painstakingly, slowly, it flickered to life. I powered it on. I knew exactly what I was looking for. Emily's 7th birthday video. I scrolled through the cracked screen, my thumb brushing against the cold glass. The video started. It was noisy, chaotic, perfect. Sarah, her face flushed with laughter, trying to light the candles. Emily, eyes sparkling, giggling, her little hands clapping. The memories, they surged, a flash of warmth in the cold, dead space inside me. It was real. It had been real. I watched, lost in the warmth. Emily, laughing, blowing out the candles, cake smudged on her nose. And then I saw it. In the corner of the living room, near the old reading lamp. A shadow. Not a normal shadow. It was too tall, too thin, too utterly still. Standing there, just watching, observing.